we saying that like if those niggas are getting thrown pussy at like 17-year-olds, they should accept it? Then let's logically follow that through. What if it's a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old or a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old? Let's say there happens to be some 12-year-old hoe out there who's throwing pussy at a 30-year-old man. We're saying because she threw pussy at that nigga, that like he should just accept it?
No.
Let me answer that. Can I answer that?
Oh my God, Perry, you gonna try to justify?
All right, go ahead.
As a Sergeant First Class in the military, I have put rifles in 17-year-old girls' hands and tell them go kill all them people over there. I have trained 17-year-old girls. You could join the army at 17-year-old. So if the nation could expect a girl to make a decision to go kill people and to go fight for her country, I think you can make a decision on who you want to have sex with. I'm just saying.
I understand. Let's remember how I phrased this question. Let's put aside the girls' decisions. Let's talk about the niggas though. Right? We're not interested in the girls. I agree with you. At 17, 15, 30, whatever age you are, we all want to put on it. Some girls are gonna want to have sex and be sexually active. I'm not talking about them. So put the girls aside for a second. Let's talk about the niggas. A nigga who's 30 to 35. You're saying that if a girl of any age throws pussy at him, he should just say yes.
No, I'm not arguing that.
I think we can all. I think we can all.
I'm not arguing that either.
We can all agree that a pedophile is a pedophile. Okay, yes. I don't even know why we're talking about children and kids.
Exactly.
But why are y'all dodging? Hold on. But why y'all dodging the fact that there are women in their 20s doing this shit? But I'm not talking about kids. I don't even know why we're.
We're not talking about the men and women who do it.
Women in their 20s doing what?
Women
in their 16 years old and 17 years old.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. If y'all let other people speak, you get to the point. Let me talk, sir.
What are women doing in their 20s?
There are women in their 20s that are chasing older men. There are women in their 20s, women 21 years old, 22, 23, 24, chasing after older men for these reasons we're talking about. We don't have to go to the kids to make this point. Why do we always do this shit? They're not taking accountability.
Wait.
There's a difference between an adolescent and an adult.
The initial case study was some politician that y'all guys brought up who was having sex with like an underage child.
I wasn't here for that.
Okay, that's why. Okay, that's why we're talking about.
And she was 17.
And I just don't think that there's like a connection between handing a 17-year-old a gun and like telling a 17-year-old to go out and catch a dick. Honestly, I feel like the ones
why don't you see the difference?
Because I think that I see the difference. I don't think that there's like a connection between the two. I think that the women who are being handed guns at 17 years old, they are getting proper training to go out and handle that gun and know when to use it. But these adolescents with their pussy, they're not going out and being trained how to use their pussy. Okay, so it's like hello, like no.
So let's say this then. Okay, let's play with the hypothetical. Let's say a 17-year-old was trained how to go out and use their quote-unquote pussy, right? Let's say they fell in love with a 30-year-old or 35-year-old. You're telling me that even with all that training, it'll be stupid for them to engage in that type of atheism with that 35-year-old if they actually love the person?
Was only on the surface. Testing a piece without destroying it, I headed over to Manhattan Gold to show you guys what a spectrometer can do. Gives the exact
she was wrong.
I just don't think she'll know any better.
From silver, gold, and
They
germanium.
both wrong, but one is more wrong than the other. But I'll say they both wrong.
They both wrong.
You can make her decision on her own, bro. She's old enough.
At 17, they're not thinking long term. They're not thinking about like the nature of their decisions and how selfish it is. Yeah, if you're a 17-year-old in love with an older man, yeah, don't be fucking selfish. Don't send that nigga to jail if you really love him, right? So if it's real love and you really care about a nigga like that, then you should also think about those consequences and ramifications if it's real love. But it's not real love. It's infatuation. It's hormones raging. It's horniness half the time.
And you realize as long as
no, it's selfish ass shit. And I'm saying, fuck them both. Like, but if it's a 17-year-old pursuing the 30-year-old man, it's incumbent upon the 30-year-old man to have some discernment, bro. Like at some point, like was fucking any and everything.
But what are you basing it on? Listen, all relationships No matter how much they love each other, it all starts with the same thing you said, just infatuation, bro. So just to point out that it isn't love, it's infatuation, you can't make that argument because all love relationships start with infatuation. And another thing is just too, though, we're saying that this girl is quote unquote trained. She has like some understanding of consequences, right? That's what the hypothetical suggests. We're not talking about an uneducated girl who doesn't quote unquote, like how Violet said, know how to properly use a P.
A 17-year-old is uneducated.
No, but she got the training to use a P. Like a 17-year-old, using the weapon.
Nathan, I'm saying even if she is educated, right? The fact that she's educated increases the moral culpability on her part because she'll also be educated on the fucking law, right? And that's some selfish ass shit. I'm saying it's wrong for a 17-year-old to love a 30-year-old man and like pursue him. She can love him from a distance and just wait till she turns to the right age or whatever, maybe coach the shit. But it's wrong for her to pursue that nigga, but it's even worse for that nigga to pursue her back.
100%. Because if you got a room full of children, y'all grew up. Y'all was with y'all cousins and y'all family members. If all of y'all was roughhousing in that room, who would be the one in trouble? The oldest, right?
Yeah. So I got a question then. So you're telling me that a 17-year-old, right, who knows how to use a quote unquote P, should never give it up, and she should wait until the age of 18 to use the P?
Yeah.
I think it would be okay. I think it would be okay if she did it with people her age.
What changes?
Legality.
I think two 12-year-olds fucking is not a problem. I mean, yeah, they're too young to be doing it. They're too young to be. Listen. Let me tell you something. I work in pediatrics, and I find this shit every day. Okay, we got 12-year-olds coming in for pregnancy tests every fucking day. Okay, and we screen these children up until they're 21. So my thing and my whole thing about it is that if she's young enough to go to a pediatrician, you shouldn't be fucking her, especially if you at 35.
You can go to a pediatrician all the age of 21.
21, yeah.
21.
Yeah. Let me delineate here. My moral standard is I don't think people who are under the age of 18 should be fucking, and I think it gets progressively worse the younger you get, though, right? So I'm not going to absolve the 12-year-olds who are fucking either. I'm saying that they're.
What does the age do, though?
Doing that, like I'm not going to be raising.
The age is that they're within their age range. Hello.
Yeah, he said legal. He said the age just does the legal
thing. Not in my house. You shouldn't be fucking.
Yeah.
But what about?
Listen. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. You should not be fucking if you cannot take responsibility for the results of fucking, because you're using your reproductive organs to do that. And what your reproductive organs tend to do is produce children and babies. If you're not ready to be a parent, you shouldn't be fucking, period.
Bruh. One thing y'all missing is that women in majority, right? Because y'all keep trying to leave the women out of it. The women in majority, hold on. The women in majority prefer older men. That's their preference. She's talking about, you need to date men in your age range. Like as if she got some kind of set value. Them women ain't gonna date who they gonna want to date, bruh. They choose to date who they want to date. They've been begging. They did away with arranged marriages and all that. They choose who they want. At 17, yes, that too. Women will rebel against you to go meet their boyfriend, bruh. Stop acting like as if y'all are blind and y'all don't see that 17-year-old girls, just like 19, 18, 19, 20, 21, they're going to date who they want to date. And you're not going to have nothing to say about it. And if you try to get involved, you're going to pay. They're going to make you pay.
I think that it's a moral thing. Morally, I don't think that they should be having sex with each other. But honestly, let's be real. In the state of nature, ain't nothing wrong with it. That's just based on morale. Like, you can't, I mean, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Trust me, it's gonna happen. And honestly, what are the laws? Like, because I don't know that much about it. I've never had to deal with this in my life.
No, if two 12-year-olds get have sex, I think the parents should be arrested for criminal negligence.
And then, at what point can somebody look up at what point can you, assert your parental right in a situation like this? Like, at what point do you say, no, I want that man to be arrested? What point can you say, I want this man to be arrested?
What do you mean?
At what, 17?
Until she's 18.
Until she's 18, a parent can be like, no, I want him to be arrested for messing around with my... then I mean, men, protect your freedom. What the fuck?
That like I said, that differs from state to state. In some states, the age of consent is 16.
I'm not talking about consent. I'm talking about parental authority. It's 18, bro.
But if she's having if the relationship is some kind of relationship, romantic relationship, and that state she's over the age of consent, you can call the police all you want. They ain't gonna do nothing.
I think the only situation is where like they can't like press charges or anything like that is like if the teenager is emancipated, and then like they get married and everything like that. Like hell yeah, you can't say shit. But I would definitely raise
I thought the legal age was like, I thought they could consent at like 16 or something like that.
It depends on state by state.
Yeah, so if you live in the backwater, you fuck your cousin state, like West Virginia or Alabama, yeah, it's probably 16. But if you live in the civilized states, it's 18.
There are some states where they lower it. Not states. Oh well, okay, no, not speak on that. But I think there's one state in particular where 14. It's been lowered to 14. But that's not the point. We're
I'm asking you though. I was about to ask you.
Wait, so consent goes over parental right? Like I could sue this person, but if my child says that they consented to it, it wouldn't go in court, right? That's how that works.
Exactly. But I don't know. Tell you the truth, I don't know. But I got a question for Huey. Huey, you said 18, does something with, it changes because it's you can legally do it. What about if legally it was 16? Would that be okay then?
I mean, look, legally it would be okay. No, legally it would be okay. But then I would also then add a tax on why is 18 the appropriate sort of age legally speaking when we're talking about other laws in general. It might seem arbitrary, but it depends on the maturation of the society. It depends on what we believe people are capable of at 18. At 18, the idea is that even though your brain isn't fully developed, at least your body is fully functionally developed enough to where you can build enough muscle mass for yourself and functionally get a job and do all of these other things. It's developed enough for us to be able to send you to war. And at that point, if we can send you to war, we can also justify a whole bunch of other things. War effectively, we can also justify a whole bunch of other rights and privileges you should be entitled to at 18, irrespective of the fact that your brain hasn't fully developed. So it's not really about brain function, but it's about like how functional can a person be at what age on average for that given society. Now, I get what you're going to say. You're going to say, what if you live in a society where people are 12 years old and they're fully matured and developed? Well, then I would say if their society is comparable to the society of the 18-year-olds, then I guess, sure. Hypothetically, sure, right? But then at that point, we're still not looking at, let's say, for example, the average age of mortality, because that matters. So if the average age of mortality in a society is 80 years old, let's say everybody on average is dying at 80 years old. That means there's a long life to lead, and that means we need to maybe segment these maturation processes at least by a fourth or a third. Sounds arbitrary, but a fourth or a third of the life should be spent at least growing or developing, or I'd say fourth, I'll grant you a fourth, growing or developing and maturing. I'm willing to do that, right? It depends. It's a multivariate problem. I understand where you're going with it, though. Like your argument, Nathan, is essentially if a society says that at 12 this person's mature, should they be able to do that? If that society wants to do that, then sure. But even that society, the funny thing is, even in that society, there's a range where it's just too weird. Like that society that says the age of consent should be 12, still sitting it at 12. They're not setting it at 9 or 8 or 7. And so there's a principle that everybody's still trying to follow unilaterally across the board when they set an age of consent.
I think the Jews got it to like 5.
No, I wasn't going to say that though, Huey. I was about to say, look, 18, like at 18, you can vote, right? But at 18, you can't drink. So you have to wait until you're 21. So there's some things that an 18-year-old still can't do, right? Now, let's say we're talking about this legal, right? We're just talking about the legal age for you to consent, not the legal age for you to vote, not the legal age for you to join the military. We're talking about consent. You say you're going to use 18 because that's what it says legally, but you're going to disagree with 16 because of all the stuff you can do at the age of 18?
Yeah, because I would, okay, look. This is going to sound cold, but my rationale.
Huey, one second. Samoa just messaged me. He said he just ran 2 miles. He's doing 400 push-ups now. Make sure you're.
No problem, because he's gonna have to do a lot of work to recover from himself. So listen, so Nathan, this is gonna sound cold as shit. Okay, so bear with me. I'm more comfortable with if anything goes wrong with the pregnancy of an 18-year-old dying versus a 16-year-old dying. Right? So you could say it's arbitrary in some sense, but I'm more comfortable with older people dying in general as a result of participating in certain things than younger people. So if you're talking about drinking, for example, I would rather a 21-year-old die in a drunken driving accident versus an 18-year-old in general. Right? If you could push these things up to a perfect age, for me, I think the right age for a lot of things would be 21/22. Right? Okay. For me personally. But I understand that it's arbitrary because you have to look at the society that we're talking about, and we'd have to, it's a multivariate. We'd have to look at what's the average age of the mortality in that society, how mature or sophisticated or developed are the people of that society. But one thing is sure across the board, across all societies, is all societies try to set a limit. So we can say that the limit is subjective, but what's not subjective is that there should be one.
Yeah. No, I get it.
The limits
your argument is just.
The limits are not subjective.
I just want to say this, one more thing. I just want to say this last thing. I just want to say, no, I get your argument, and your argument is only based on the legality of it. You're saying that, hey, if it's illegal, then that's a no-go, but if it's legal, it's a go. I guess I was making I wanted.
No. Hey, don't say it like that. Don't say it like no.
But that's basically it's not. Basically.
Let me add to that. No, you're right. But let me add to that because that sounds crazy. I'm saying if it's illegal, it's a no-go. If it's legal, it's yucky and it's a blurry gray area, and I'm still gonna judge you either way. If you're a 30-year-old nigga fucking a 16-year-old just because 16 is the age of consent, I feel like there's something wrong with you. Right, because
I agree with you.
I'd have to ask you. By that logic, how far would this go? Like you, the same nigga who's willing to fuck a 16-year-old just because it's legal. What about a 13-year-old if it was legal? What about a 10-year-old if it was legal? And I'll play that game same way we're doing now. Right? By that rationale, that's what it amounts to.
So base that argument on, right? They're not gonna say I'm doing it just because it's legal. They're saying I'm doing it because I'm in love. I'm doing it because of whatever reason.
No, they're doing it because
crazy as hell.
That's why they target the young women.
I'm beating it up.
That's obviously why, right? These older men go after these young women because they don't have enough common sense, and an older woman is going to question things that a younger woman wouldn't.
When is the perfect age? Right? Because I think you're not giving a woman credit, man. Right? A woman's knowledge is based on her life experience. Like, let's say if a woman was sheltered her whole life, all the way up to 25, right? And let's just say the first guy she came in contact to is this 50-year-old man who's been in multiple relationships. Would y'all think that him dating this girl would be good for her, or y'all think that he'd be trying to take advantage of this poor innocent girl with no experience?
No, I wouldn't think either of those things. I wouldn't think either of those things. To be fair, I'm not gonna assume that 50-year-old man is trying to take advantage of that 25-year-old girl. Yada yada yada. I'm gonna just assume he's a weak nigga, number one. And let's keep it a buck. It's just way easier to deal with 25-year-old.
Probably get no pussy, number two.
Yeah. So, but that's got. I'm not gonna throw a predatory jacket on that nigga. I can be empathetic and be like, man, he was probably a loser.
But that's exactly what you're doing. You don't understand. Wait. No, what's happening what's happening is you're allowing a lack of accountability again, because once again, I'm gonna tell you, I said it earlier, women prefer older men. So they're in the equation. They prefer older men, and after they live their young life going after older men, and then they get old, then they start talking about, oh, this man is predatory. They weren't predatory when you was liking them, but now that you're older, you can't get them no more. You can't get them no more, and they after younger girls. They after younger girls who wants older men, right? Because these younger girls, they still want older men. And one of the reasons, and like I was about to say it earlier, the objective of the consent of a lot of laws that go around age and age limits has nothing to do with mental capacity. It has to do with social capacity, whether or not you could handle the responsibilities of the consequences that you make, and remember, we're talking about the government. The government don't give a shit about your feelings. What they care about is whether or not you're going to be in the government tits, whether or not you could pay your taxes, and you could manage yourself in the social climate. So that's why they did the whole 18-year-olds for alcohol. But they had to do with whether you're mentally.
Wait, hold on. Let's address something real quick. Ceteris paribus. You have a nigga who's 30 years old, has $1 million, and is relatively healthy and X, Y, and Z. And you have a 50-year-old man who's 50 years old, has $1 million, and is relatively healthy, X, Y, and Z. Which do you think more women are likely to choose? Ceteris paribus. All things being equal except their ages. Are they more likely to pick the older man or the younger?
The older man.
Hell,
Reason why?
Going back to the point where he was just like, oh, because you're older now, you can't get the older men. That's because the older men we want are fucking 80 years old and they're in nursing homes. We can't get them anymore. It's not because we can't get them because we're older, but it's like these younger women, they get the older men because they're younger and they're out here and they probably don't have children or careers or fucking any obligations. I'm still sleeping on mommy's fucking couch. What are we talking about? When it comes down to the fucking age limit,
Someone once told me.
I think they can excuse that. Whether they can get them or whether they can like that whole thing is like trash. No.
Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to be
older. The reason why they choose the older one because they have a higher chance of being able to get that money when this guy passes away.
Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to become a big content creator one day. I have no supporters. So if you have the chance, please subscribe.
Right? And the men out there are dating these women, these younger women, because they want to take advantage. Guys want to be the same. The women date older men because they want to take advantage of men, because they want their men money.
Please
and I think
scroll.
that's a disrespect. If you don't look in the hole.
That makes sense.
Hypergamy, right? But to answer the question is that I think that and my logical conclusion is that anything above 21,
please don't scroll. I'm just trying to be. Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to
look at it as weird and like borderline like predator behavior, right? Because you're using your ability to manipulate these women because they don't have the cognitive ability of older people, right? There's a reason why certain car rental companies or insurance companies don't allow people under the age of 25 to get insurance. So certain cars or even rent cars, right? Because they don't have the mental capacity on decision making as older people.
They can get insurance. It's just gonna be.
No, I mean certain cars. Yeah, certain cars they want insurance. If you're under 25,
I think regardless of they're doing that because they don't want lawsuits. They don't give a shit about
why?
Your mental
because they don't have the mental capacity to make the right decision.
But I'm saying it's not made because of the mental capacity.
It is, but
it's made based off money and social stuff.
No,
if they could get away with
listen to
all the people want is the money. I know what I'm saying.
In order to save money, they're factoring in the lower mental capacity of people under the age of 25.
All right, you done? Okay, so let me explain to you. The reason why they factor in the people under the age of 25 is not because of their mental capacity and their ability to drive. It's based off PR. When young people die in your cars, you get lawsuit, and you're gonna lose the lawsuit because they're young. Right? People are gonna feel oh my God, you're killing all the young people with your bad car. That's what they care about. All the other bullshit about your feelings and the mental capacity, they don't care about none of that.
Yeah, that's not true at all. You have no idea what you're talking about. It's clearly insurance companies will tell you it's because that these people don't have the right decision-making skills. Like they get into a higher amount of accidents. They usually drink when they drive.
Honestly,
or they're doing some weird shit with the car that they shouldn't be doing.
If I was an older man and I was looking, especially if I
They could do that in a Prius.
If I was a man and I know I wanted to date younger women, I mean, at least be out of your mom's house. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least be on your own. At least be independent. Like, what the fuck? Like, you dating somebody that got a curfew? Come on, man.
All I'm saying is this, right? And there's no doubt, and there's no going around it. No matter how you look, people keep trying to put a age around, let's say 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. But there's no like, oh, for this person right here, this is the age that they're mature, and for that person, I've met men in the military who are 30-year-old virgins, and them young girls come in there and run circles around them. Them young girls know more about social cues and social issues than 30-year-old men who are awkward. But guess what? That 30-year-old guy, he's in a nice, sexy-looking uniform. They like that, right? And when they go after him, he's a 30-year-old virgin. Them girls running circles around that.
That's what I'm hearing.
I'm just saying, bro.
That nigga is a victim because he's a virgin. That's what I'm hearing.
He's not a victim. He's not a victim. He's not a victim.
You know what it is?
I'm saying people like who they like, bro. They're gonna go who they like.
Pernell, I don't know you. Pernell, I don't know you, but I'm not you.
That's a great argument.
No, Pernell got a point, man.
That one is
To protect these 30-year-old virgin men, we have to protect them. We have to have laws to protect these 30-year-old virgin men from these young juicy pussies. Like that's what I'm hearing.
That's what you're hearing, but that's not what I'm saying. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Let me defend myself.
Let me just say this one thing.
Let me defend myself.
I just say one thing.
What I'm saying is this, bro. It's all about maturity. You're making an argument of maturity, but then you're trying to put it on maturity.
That's because
Okay,
maturity
the original issue was, hold on a minute, Mike. The original issue was that the girl was 17-year-old. The girl was 17-year-old. Now, if you was talking about a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old, and maybe even a 16-year-old, I'd be like, all right, that's weird.
Yeah,
but when it comes to like a 17, 18, 19, because even 19-year-old, even 19-year-old women, people will still say, oh, if a 19-year-old girl is dating like a 28-year-old man, they'll still be like, oh, that's red. Like, no, she's 19, bro. She can choose whoever she want to date.
An example, bro. Time usually matures the fucking thing, right? If you can point out some outliers, right, but it would still be weird. You're just going to say that person had a quote-unquote old soul. At the end of the day, right, a usual indicator is basic brain development as well. So you were saying a minute ago, you were talking about like how it's kind of like a money thing at some point in time. Well, your decision-making skills...
You see how I'm not coming off mic?
What?
Fucking black niggas. Why you such black bastards? Why? Why?
Yeah, because you done coming off mic the whole time I was talking.
Why?
I did
Why?
not, bro.
Why?
That was me. I was coming off mic. But I wanted to say this, man. I think the issue with everyone have a problem with is just this idea of destruction of the innocent, right? You guys are looking at this person like they're this innocent being, and this guy, he's going to take advantage and destroy their innocence. The same way how we look at the virgin who's like messing with these women who are already tainted, right? We're looking at them that they can destroy this guy innocence. We need to have the innocent with the innocent. And that's how, to me, that's what it seems like. Because if it was of course, go ahead.
So I wouldn't use the word innocent. That sounds kind of gross, right? I would use the word vulnerable, right? Vulnerable has the ability to where somebody has a potential capacity to like manipulate, persuade, basically at some point develop and establish a relationship where you gain like dominance by like a reliance on a person, right? So typically the more autonomous the individual is, right, you're going to have a more equal setting at some point, right? So vulnerability in this context is used to basically like communicate with the mind where you kind of have some type of like advantage in that sense. And that I'm saying usually that comes with an age gap. Somebody was talking about 20 and 50. Look, I'm gonna say something right now. Locker rooms and shit. There's no fucking way in the world you're gonna fucking tell me a fucking young lady's gonna be attracted to fat, gray hair.
Hey, Mike.
Shriveled
How are
ass
you?
fucking
How you doing today? Please.
Your presuppositions. I don't like it.
No. I'm intrigued. How do the dicks look? Please describe nasty.
They're like I'll tell you.
Are they uncircumcised?
Some of them are. I am circumcised, so there's a bias in that sense. Here, I'll tell you how they
God, stop the atheism.
hey, have you ever seen like hot dogs and eggs? Like a cut hot dog?
I don't even, let me go mute up, man. I don't want to.
Yeah. Them skin on franks.
Anyways, my point is this, is that people tend to become more unattractive as they're older.
Bro, you can say
No, that Mike. That's for women. Women become more unattractive when they get older. Men, unfortunately, they don't. They become more attractive because women like power. Women are attracted to money. Men are attracted to physical features. Women are attracted to, and this is just my belief. Maybe I'm wrong.
Post the literature, please.
I think this. I don't think men become more attractive. I think men have a better aging timeline, meaning they don't age as bad. I think women do kind of like age worse than men in that sense.
Yeah, because we're in the house and you're out.
And we live in a very society, right?
Women have a multifaceted way they define attractiveness. Women have a multifaceted way that they
define an attractive. You right.
Hold on a minute, bro.
Right.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No. I just was agreeing. I'm gonna meet up.
Oh, my bad, man. Sorry. I didn't know what you were saying. But yeah.
You're agreeing with me? Hold on. Keep
But
going.
they were saying that I was saying that women have a multifaceted way, the way that they pick men. So even if you're older, there might be other things that would make you attractive. But for men, we just like the way you look. Like that's a big thing for us. Your personality and the way you look.
That's why Huey asked you, all things considered equal, if you have a 30-year-old or 50-year-old, right? The multifaceted aspect goes out the window in that sense. You're going to want a more attractive person that has a higher probability of reproduction, right? Naturally, right? Reproduction can come in a lot of ways. First of all, it's the act of like younger biology. Second, it's the act of the ability to produce, right? That's why older women tend to like younger men because they can perform better, like intimately, more frequently, and so on. Some fucking 50-year-old man, and I'm saying this, I'm 45, you know, and so I don't know, I'm maybe shooting myself in the foot here.
Can I throw a spanner in the works here?
Go ahead. No, Huey, go ahead.
I'll go after
I'm gonna throw a spanner in the works here. So this idea that women like resources and all of that, I think is too simplistic. I think at the base of all of women's values is security, and at the base of all of men's values is significance. So one of the issues that happens with why women pick or select for older men in the first place is because older men are less risk prone because they have more to lose because they've amassed more resources. Exactly. Younger men typically are more risk prone because they have nothing to lose and they're in the journey to acquiring or amassing resources. But if you take that off the table altogether, and a younger man can provide security for a woman, he will outcompete an older man every single time, without a doubt. Virility is way more valuable across the board, right? In other words, like I understand what Nathan is saying, but that applies to like a small subset of women who are gold diggers and who have that as a tact. At that point, they're not like even those women aren't dating like the 50-year-olds; they're dating the 80-year-olds. Right? Like who are just like at death's door so that they can live life, right? They're not going to wait out from 50 to possibly, this nigga could possibly.
Why not apply that same standard to the men? Why already judge the men? I just want to say this. Why automatically judge the man and say that the men only want this woman for one reason then? Why can't you do the same thing and say that, you know, the majority of men, they want the same thing. They want love. They want a woman, blah, 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 this. Why do it have to be like, this man wants to take advantage of this woman?
Okay, and you're right. Maybe there's a bit of a blind spot, double standard here, but I will point this out. The older men get, from my experience, from talking to lots of older men, the more jaded they become. The belief that, for me to believe that a nigga past a certain age is capable of love after having been burned by hundreds of thousands of women, it's very unlikely to me. Very, very unlikely. And if that's the case, why go for a younger woman if he's really interested in love as a proposition? Why not just go for all women across the board and say, well, I'm not specifically targeting or selecting for younger women. Why not deal with love with the women in his own age? Or even a woman who's older. So like the idea.
Exactly.
So the idea The idea is, I am dubious to those claims, Nathan, because men, as they get older and deal with, like, let's say the capitalistic nature of women or the hypergamous nature of women, are more likely to be jaded in general, which is why you pick somebody who's naive and who hasn't necessarily gotten into the game about like how to use niggas for their money, X, Y, and Z, right? Like, I don't see niggas. I've never met a nigga past 50 who isn't jaded about women. Period.
Okay, I would say something after Violet.
Thank you. Can we take the money out of it and just like put the sex on top of this whole thing?
The atheism?
Yes, let's put the sex on top of it. I just feel like these 80-year-olds, they'll look for younger women, but the younger women won't really want them because I don't feel like they can get it up as good as somebody in their 30s. I think that's why we sort of level out, you know, when it comes down to, or the amount of women that turn into cougars because men their age can't get it up. That's also very interesting as well. That's also very interesting as well. Because, I mean, think about it. And that's why, you know, I don't think it's necessarily the fact that, like, these women, when they get older, they can't get the older men that they want because, you know, these men can't keep up, you know? I mean, but a younger man can. And then, I mean, but within the proper age range, though, like, don't even...
And they look fresh. Imagine.
And they look fresher. Yeah, like, think about that. I don't want no... Yeah. You know, that's why when it comes down to it, you can sit here and think, yeah, I want an older man. Yeah, he can take me places and he can do this. But when you're in your mid-20s and you have your car and you have your mortgage and you pay all your bills and you're responsible, you're independent, you have your career... What does it all boil down to? Especially, I mean, let's take out the millionaire aspect of it because, like, I mean, you know, not all of us go by money. So some of us just care about, hey, like, can you please me sexually? You know, like for a very long time. And can we keep this going for a very long time? Sometimes that's what the fuck matters. Sometimes, yeah. So,
can I add to that too?
Yeah.
As a personal trainer, just in the experience of just working with people. Hey, look, you know the wealthy 50-year-olds that have the fucking 30-year-olds? Those chicks are fucking their trainers. Thank you.
Hello?
I just want to say this. Like, look at, like, every, like, star or you ready? Okay. Every athlete or something like that who got married when they were younger, their families, they end up divorced. And who do they end up with when they divorce? A 20-year-old. 25-year-old people that are young who can keep up with that. Because the older a man gets, the more man would be upset.
That's because they objectify the women. The women just stand there like a statue. Don't talk. Don't speak. Just stand there. And then as you get older, make yourself look younger. It's like, that's what it is.
No.
Yeah, it happens here in Miami, you know. These older men, they don't give a fuck if you can fuck them. They just want you to look nice, you know. That's why in Miami, these older men, they either go for the younger women or they make the wife get surgery. And they'll pay out of pocket for that shit.
I think whoever has the most leverage uses the other side. I don't think you guys are really debating each side that has leverage. You know, if you're a woman and you're young and you feel like your beauty is your leverage, yeah, of course you're probably even gonna ignore some guys who are your age. And if you're a guy and maybe you're a loser, I think Wu was mentioning it, you're a loser throughout your high school and whatnot, and then you get rich somewhere between your 50s, 30s or whatever, you're gonna use this as an advantage, you know. This is all about leverage, man. This relationship is all about. You said something that I don't know how true it is. You said though, for most men that you've talked to that are above 50, you find that they tend to be what? They tend to be
jaded
against what?
Jaded.
Yeah, is that the famous saying they're angry or something? What do you mean by that?
That the biases that men, I guess, the biases and I guess what you'd say, quote unquote, misogynistic sort of opinions of women set in even harder the older men get. So in other words, there's no point in which I'm seeing a 50-year-old treat a younger woman as an equal. And now they've got age to justify the lack of equal treatment in terms of intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, X, Y, and Z. all of the problems that we men experience with women who are reasonable age, those problems scale up the older men get, and the older the range gets, right? They become jaded. So that's why it's hard for me to believe.
Yo, my Wi-Fi is acting up. Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if I could agree with that. Say, because the way he's making it sound is like the woman is a victim over here. And I mean, we never looked at it as in maybe the woman. I think when people use the word attraction, because people kept using that word, instead of looking at it as a lot of human beings are just forecasters, you know? They can just, maybe they're just looking at the region where they live and they realize, listen, if I'm with a guy maybe who doesn't have a certain job or does certain what, I'm probably wasting a lot of my youth for most times. I mean, because the way you function is almost like you make it sound like this is always a bad situation for the woman, and the woman has no say or does not actually aim to be in that situation. I think a lot of women.
No. That's not how I'm saying it. No. But I'm not saying it's a bad situation. I'm not here to talk about whether it's beneficial for the woman or not. Like, if it's very clearly the case that it clearly must be beneficial for a lot of women if they're doing this particular thing. I'm not interested in the stupid women, the predatory women, or any of that. I'm interested in the type of nigga that would actually do that, the character of that type of nigga. That's what my focus is on. Right? What is the character of that type of nigga? And I'm gonna say this more brutally now. I've been trying to be nice with some of these old niggas, but I feel like old niggas need to know their place. The reality is, if you're 50 years old still having ambitions and dreams of dating 20-year-olds, it's because you have arrested development. It's because in your 20s you weren't able to really maximize your full potential at that particular point, right? Or at some point there's something that happened in your developmental process that locked you into that perpetual state, right? So it could be trauma. I don't care.
Wake it
up.
up.
It's clearly arrested development. Because I'm gonna keep it up with you. If you're 60 years old, 55 or whatever, your job in society now is to pass on wisdom, is to play with children, is to tell funny jokes. Your job is not to be dating. Your job is not to be living an exciting life. No, you're supposed to be living the kind of life off of the money, and that's who we need in our society. We don't need more 50-year-old niggas acting like 20-year-old niggas. Right? That's the problem I have. These older niggas, I hope it hurts their soul when they hear me speak. Some of you're ready to die now. Right? And if you didn't complete what you were supposed to do in this lifetime, I'm sorry, come back in the next lifetime, you might be that nigga. But stop competing with us regular age niggas.
Yeah, do it again. Start over.
These niggas are ready to die now. Just die, bro. Just die.
Just die, bro.
Hey, you let me hear that again? I just came in. Peace and blessings.
That's good. That's good. So now you do.
Yeah, I want to hear that again.
No. I want to hear this.
That was an amazing.
No, I'm with it. I'm for the Cultural Revolution right now. Okay, because here's my thing.
But like,
I have no problem.
I mean, look at his relationship. He has 9 wives. That's why I wanted to ask you this question per se, because.
Okay, wait. Musanda, he's the perfect example. He's the perfect example of arrested development. The nigga didn't get past grade 7. What are we talking about? That's arrested development by definition. The nigga was out here smashing women with HIV raw and saying that he took a shower to get off the AIDS. That's arrested development, my guy. He's the perfect example of arrested development. And that's because of the apartheid system. I understand. I can sympathize. Apartheid fucked our people up, bro.
So what about the king of Ethiopian? He just married Zuma's daughter. So what? You're saying he didn't get bitches in his youth? Like, he's literally the queen. I'm saying, I think there's a gray area when we talk about a lot of these things. Maybe, I'm not saying Kano was completely right, but even within your country, or the neighboring country, like I said, any state is within it also has the same thing.
Arrested development.
Yeah, arrested development.
Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to become a big content creator.
Wait, just because, okay. So I think maybe you're misunderstanding. I would even say that even like let's say a nigga who's 35,
I'm just trying to be
still fucking lots and lots of women and failing to get into a committed relationship at some point, right? Without establishing some kind of, let's say, a polyamorous or polycule dynamic, probably also has arrested development issues. A lot of niggas are fucking to make up for their first heartbreak, which
Please don't scroll.
And a lot of young girls are fucking just to make up for that.
I have no supporters. So if you
a
have
lot
the
of young
chance,
girls are also
please
fucking to
subscribe.
make up for the first nigga that took the virginity and never committed to it. That's arrested development, right? Yeah, like the first nigga that took your virginity, that showed you weren't shit by not sticking it out with you, right? And now you're fucking and out of here and fucking and you're out here in the streets as a result. That nigga locked you into that age. That nigga locked you into that age where you're now constantly seeking the shit. It's arrested development.
Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to become a big content creator one day, but I have no supporters. So if you
I'm saying
have the
it's
chance,
okay. I'm saying it's
please
okay.
subscribe.
Listen, I can sympathize, but let's not try and act like there's something heroic or noble about what these niggas is doing. They're victims of life, but they're not victims of the women that are now approaching them. Like, I hate the implication that, like, oh, a 17-year-old women sometimes approach 31-year-old men. If it works, it means there's something wrong with that 31-year-old nigga, right? But I'm saying if you scale that up, by the time you get to a 50-year-old nigga, it's even worse. And at 50, you should be ready. You should be preparing for death, my nigga. You should be the fun uncle who's here to play with kids, tell fun stories, not fucking 20-year-olds. That part of your life should be done at that stage.
Talking about they approached me. Like, if a bum approached you, you giving him $1 every time?
But Huey, are you talking about, like, let's say about your grandfather's age, right? Grandfather, 30-year-old, dated someone 19-year-old. That woman is the wife and the mother of your dad. Was there something wrong with your grandfather then?
Yeah. Listen, you're talking. Yes, absolutely. What the fuck are we talking about? Arrested development, right? And my grandfather.
Trivial at that point.
My grandfather had 4 wives. Okay? First one, they met. So he was maybe, I think, 3 to 4 years older than her. Second one, he was about 7 to 8 years older than her. Third wife, by the time he got his third wife, he was 15 years older than the bitch. The fourth wife, right? Like, this nigga was in his 70s when he got a 20-year-old woman. He had arrested development issues. Now, culturally, polygamy is permitted in my culture, right? And part of the reason why is because sometimes you inherit wives from when your brother dies. So for example, Nathan, let's say you and me are brothers, and I die. You inherit my wife as a part of that, and you're supposed to take responsibility to that degree. So
the family and everything.
Yeah. So it becomes incumbent upon you to come look after my family, my kids, my wife, X, Y, and Z. But that's how you get the wife there. But in the case of my grandfather, that's happened with the last wife, but not with the third wife. My point is there was clearly some arrested development issues. But also, bear in mind, niggas in the rural areas, like, marriage is a tool of upward social mobility to some degree. You can produce more children, you can work the land and the soil and all of that. So it's a bit different, but I'd still keep the same energy. It's arrested development. This nigga was illiterate. He couldn't read, right? I love the nigga, but, like, he couldn't read, right? For the most part, he had a very, like, immature worldview on a lot of things. And, but luckily for him, you know, he had a big family, produced a lot of success stories as a function. I'm not saying it's like 100% bad, but I'm just saying let's analyze the character of these niggas, man.
100%.
And I would have said the same thing to my grandfather, like, at some point, if he kept trying to date, like, 20-year-old girls, like, nigga, you should just die. But he's already dead, so, you know, he took care of that.
But listen, back then, reading wasn't selected for. At the end of, I don't know. I look at it as like a cultural thing. Culture has now shifted, and now we can look at it as, I guess, from our lens as, hey, this thing is quote unquote bad. Even though, like, some places celebrate it, like Quinceañera, the 16-year-old becoming a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was 16-year-old. Now you're not a girl no more. You are officially a woman. You can go out there and reproduce.
Yeah, sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, speak to the point of like that somebody makes when you're able to like legit go off and get married. The Bengalis do it the same way, you know, but some of them are a little bit graceful for their children. They're not so pressured into just like repopulating like the Jewish people are because of the Holocaust. But yeah, like that whole thing. I mean, honestly, like after being in New York for like 9 months, I was really exposed to like a lot of Bengalis, and like, you know, these women would disappear for about maybe a month and then come back to work, and it's just like, where'd you go, sis? Oh no, I was in Dubai, I was in Bangladesh, you know, my parents are trying to marry me off, so I just went over there to meet a few people. I'm like, bitch, are you serious? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, and these are like what? Like what are they? You know, they're not fucking bums off the fucking street. No, these are people, like, these are lawyers, these are doctors, you know, like, I mean, they're getting set up, like, for their future by their parents. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but, like, having some type of dominance and just wanting to, like, assertively marry off your 9-year-old daughter, it's kind of fucked up.
I don't know. It's weird. Wait, you mean set them up to get married when they get older, or at 9-year-old, they're gonna be living with a man?
Yeah, like, you know, like, I mean, cause some of them, they're, you know, they want to, like, as early as 9 years old, at least, you know, that's the earliest I've ever seen it, working in pediatrics. But, you know, yeah, that's just, I mean, I get it, you know. It is a cultural thing, for sure.
You know, let's start a room in the house. This ain't working.
Knowledge. Can you hear me?
No.
Oh, bro, you gotta start. I'm banned, bro. I'm not a leader in chillism. It's up to you, my brother.
Oh, you're not that to join the house?
No.
These old niggas.
They even got me. I'm off the account, bro. I think they banned me for good.
Who is they? Yeah, talking about chess this whole, like, being.
Not an atheist. Let me see something. Yeah, I can't even find my account. Nathan on 23.
So is that why we say he's a predator? There's a child out there. I don't want to have a call about it, but I know.
Wait, so
what was it? Was it South Sudan?
But just before you reach ChatGPT, there's a
lot of... I'm not going to wait for you. Hold on. So the Syrian conflict, which began in 2011, has evolved into a complex and multifaceted civil war involving various domestic and international actors. I guess that this is what you guys were talking about the different actors, right, on both sides. It has the key players. You have the Syrian government on one side, which is led by the president, and the regime that has retained control over significant portions of the country, primarily in the west and south. And it has received substantial military and political support from allies such as Russia and Iran. So that is the west and south. Now the opposition groups, you have different factions. So you have Free Syrian Army on one side, and Islamist groups like Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS. These groups have differing ideologies and objectives, often leading to internal conflicts. Then you have the Kurdish forces. So the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces control areas in northern and eastern Syria, so on the other half, focusing on establishing autonomous governance and combating extremist groups like ISIS. And then you have the international actors, who are multiple countries that have been involved directly or indirectly through proxies like Russia and Iran that support the Assad regime, while Turkey has backed certain rebel groups and conducted operations against Kurdish forces. The United States also has primarily supported Kurdish forces in the fight against ISIS. So it's a mess. The Syrian conflict is really a mess. Now, in terms of Israel, it has not really been a direct participant in Syrian civil war. It has been deeply affected, though, by the conflict due to the Syria's proximity and the strategic threats that are posed to some of the players involved. Like, for example, the Golan Heights and the spillover effects, like rebels that have occasionally spilled over into the Golan Heights and prompting Israeli military responses. But anyway, you guys can go. I just wanted to kind of like explain a little bit the entanglement.
Good explanation. Bravo.
Yeah, the players.
And it has been very complicated because it's a proxy war, as you said, Isa. So many parts are involved. And you know what? None of them is the right side. None of them.
It seems like they have taken this territory just to like be like a battleground for several different conflicts. Poor Syrians. Maybe they should just dissolve the territory and split it into different pieces.
Well, if it is different pieces, then, you know, I don't agree with that, of course. I don't agree that any state will be divided. The more you divide, the more they come weak. The more they come weak, the more they kill each other and get complicated with each other. So one state is the best because it has always been one state. So just one state, and you divide it into parts. It's not really interesting. It's not really good.
Yeah, that's true.
What about splitting it based on ethnicities or on nationalities? Do you think it's a bad idea?
I'm sorry, are you asking me?
Yeah. You said one country is better. You like look at, for example, even Russian Federation right now. You have many nations living under one regime. It will probably fall apart at some time because of the tensions and because of the enforcement apparatus will not be able to handle those tensions. But they will be more stable than the one big state.
Stability will not be there, Eli. I'm sorry. Look what happened in Iraq, and now it is divided. What happened in Sudan, and now it is divided. It doesn't mean that stability will be there after dividing a state to different or small states. Stability will not be.
It might not be, but the question is, what is the division based on? Is it based on a ethnic group having self realization and self rule, or are you trying to have like two opposing sides to live under one state?
I believe the division is going to be based on ethnics, because simply.
Do you, like, I'm actually not aware. Do you have a good example of one ethnic group under its own rule being less stable than it was like under some shared entity?
Sudan.
India.
Sudan. And maybe India. I don't know much about it.
We can explore that. Sudan. What are the two forces now that are unstable in Sudan?
Well, Sudan was just one state, and now they are divided to Sudan and South Sudan, and maybe soon.
It's about to become three.
Yes, it's going to be three. Darfur is going to be the third, maybe.
I think there should be more states in the world.
One second. Are they mixed though, or like each Sudan state now has like their own population that's like one cohesive ethnic group?
No, they're all.
Well, no, Sudan only. It is not North Sudan. It's called Sudan. Sudan now, the majority of them are Muslims. South Sudan, the majority of them are Christians, and maybe Darfur is another part.
yeah, most of them are Muslims, but extremist Muslim or Muslim Brotherhood, Muslim, whatever you call them.
This is a bad example because you have like two very competing and still a mix of very competing religions. So you have no cohesion
because the division is based on ethnics.
So wait, so I'm asking, like, is there a good example for one ethnic, like purely ethnic group that is unstable amongst themselves?
Are you talking about Israel?
We actually have a bunch of Arabs here, like a third of the population.
Okay, maybe it's
we're not talking about Israel. We're talking about talk about Syria for 2 hours.
Yeah, no, it was a quick detour. He asked, I answered.
It's not a quick detour. We've been trying to talk about fucking Syria for 2 hours.
Must be punished.
You can go back to Syria if you want.
Thank you for your
permission.
Nice, Isa.
Daniel, you look great. The Princessia protesting against Daniel.
But I think she's not wearing a hat. Who is the kid in your PTR, Princessa?
My cousin's son.
And why is he wearing
remember that they're all cousins, right? I mean, it's all the inbreeding stuff, so yeah.
And why is he wearing a terrorist kafir?
Because he's a little terrorist.
That's sad.
Do you think Isa is appropriate to call a child a terrorist?
I asked, why are you dressing it up with a terrorist kafir?
It's a tiny little terrorist.
Isa, do you think it's appropriate to call a child a terrorist?
I don't know. Is it appropriate to make fun of homosexuals? Is it appropriate?
I didn't say anything about gays in this room.
I don't know. Is it appropriate to do what you do? Well, I don't know.
Isa, you just called a child
Are you going to be the appropriate police? Are you going to be the appropriate police? Are you going to try to police my language? I don't care. Is it appropriate to be anti-Semite? I don't know, but I allow you. I mean, like, I don't care what you do. So yeah, maybe it's inappropriate, but so what? I don't give a shit. I don't care about what you say, Princessia.
Right.
Isa, it's this kind of language that makes you all not care when these children are dead because to you they're just terrorists.
Right.
Why do you dress him up like this?
Yeah, don't make him a little terrorist. Don't make him a target. Don't make him a target.
In our rooms have said like it's good that these kids are dying. Like I don't think anybody's ever said that.
No, when she calls a child
is it appropriate to use children to put them as human shields? Is it that appropriate, Princessia?
It's the IDF that's using Palestinians as human shields. They literally
No, is it appropriate to use your own kids to
what's the human shield
of the army?
This is the problem with the Palestinians. Every time you tell them something, they cannot handle it. And the thing is, Princessa, at the end, the people that are dying are your own people. So the longer that you ignore it, it will continue happening. It will not stop happening.
Is it appropriate to call them terrorists? Is it appropriate to dress a little kid as a Nazi? I don't know. Ask the parents.
This Hafsa Sophia is not what you're saying it is.
What is it, and why is it like?
This way.
So tell me what it is, because I know what it is, and I know why you're using it also. Because it's not listen. I saw pictures of Palestinians like back then. None of them was wearing this kafia. Okay, this kafia.
I have pictures of my grandfather wearing.
Show me with this black and white kafia. Show me. Blur his face. Blur his face. Because I will tell you, Masri, because it was a legitimate thing, and it's been weaponized. If you will see, and the people that are using, usually a kafia is worn by men on their heads. Do you agree, Masri?
We call it a hafta.
A hafta, Masri. Where does the kafia go? On the head or on the face?
Big content creator.
I'm asking Masri.
He's Egyptian.
Honestly. I know he's Egyptian. Thank you. It's literally in his name and his PTR, Princessa. Thank you for stating the obvious. Masri, which is Egyptian in Arabic. Masri, Yes. When you wanna wear a kafia, do you put it on your face or on your head?
On the butt.
Okay, usually, as a response to your question,
Yes.
it is on head and sometimes on shoulder. But when you really talk about it, as I put it to hide my face, I can use another piece of clothes.
Yes, you can, but you are right. But why are they using? I mean, you can ignore the reality, and it's something that was the Jordanians are using it, and it's completely legitimate. They have like the red and white kafia. This kafia became popular by one individual called Yasser Arafat, and in Gaza, you will not see like regular individual wearing it. You will only see terrorists hiding their face, and you will only see those kafias in pro-Hamas demonstrations in the West. It is not worn as a custom or like tradition. It's not about tradition, and I think mostly as an Egyptian man, you should stand out against the abuse that they are doing with your culture.
I disagree with you, Daniel. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
As your perspective, which is respected, of course, but it's not the right thing, because each Arab country almost with a kafia has its own color. For example, Saudi Arabia is all white.
Right. I know this.
Bahrain is with red.
Right.
We have tribes in Egypt, and usually in Sinai, they use another kafia with another shape. But when they put this kafia, which is a Palestinian one, and you know this.
What is a Palestinian kafia? What do you mean a Palestinian one? Since when? Since when is it Palestinian kafia?
Please let me.
Yeah, go ahead.
As you see with Francesca picture, this kafia is a Palestinian one. It is white and black, okay, with white somehow squares.
Right.
This is a Palestinian one. This is what they are famous with. It is not only Yasser Arafat's kafia. It is a Palestinian.
Hold on. Since when is it a so-called Palestinian kafia? Since what year?
What's the difference? What's the point in that?
I will show you the point. Was it like, let's say, in 1948? Were the Palestinians wearing it?
I'm not sure exactly which year, but what's the point? Still, what's the point?
I will tell you exactly what the point. When did it become a so-called Palestinian kafia? When and why? Do you know?
If you know the answer, please provide me.
No, because you called it a Palestinian kafia.
Because I know this shape is a Palestinian one.
Since when?
I don't know since when.
I will help you. Since Yasser Arafat.
So?
And the people that wore it are not regular Palestinians on the streets. Were the people that were part of his terror group. I will show you now photo. I will show you. You know what? I will show you videos from Gaza. Okay, right now, and from the streets in Gaza. I have videos from the market in Gaza. How many people do you think are wearing it? The Palestinian kafia. How many Palestinians are wearing Palestinian kafia? That you call Palestinian kafia. My question is, why are the only people that the Palestinians are not wearing it, and the only people that are wearing it are people that are, let's call them, anti-Zionists?
No, that's far from the truth.
So show me.
Daniel, if something is traditional, it doesn't mean that they are all trying to do this traditional thing.
I understand. When you say traditional, since when is it traditional?
Well, I don't know why you wanted to comment. To link between this and terrorism.
Because you're saying it's a tradition, okay? When did this tradition start? I understand. When did this tradition start?
I don't know, but I still don't see any connection between the kafia and terrorism.
He's trying to explain to you the acts of terrorism that were committed. The terrorists were wearing.
Maybe some terrorists wore it. Maybe some terrorists silent.
Now, if you're willing to wear this kafia, it means that you're sanctioning the attire that literal terrorists wear to commit acts of terrorism. That's what Daniel is saying.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
I'm sorry, guys. No.
So tell me if it's, but Masri, I'm really interested. If it's a traditional Palestinian kafia, why aren't the Palestinians wearing it?
Daniel, let me please tell you something.
Yes.
Seeing this kafia with some people you think they are terrorists, it doesn't mean.
No, I'm not saying that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that the people that are wearing it are terrorists. I said that it's a terrorist kafia, meaning that if you wear it, you are supporting or you are like giving some support to the people that are wearing it. Because the Palestinians themselves, maybe sanction is the word, I don't know. The Palestinians themselves are not wearing it. The people that are wearing it are the Palestinian terrorists. So you can say, and I'm thinking that we are saying the same thing. It's a traditional Palestinian terrorist kafia.
It's not true. It is not a
so show me.
Please, Daniel, again, please, just let me get it. Here I'm telling you, if I put this kafia, it doesn't mean that I'm pro-terrorist. I'm pro-Palestine because it's symbol of Palestine. Some people, if they use it during an attack or something, it doesn't mean that the symbol itself is a terrorist thing.
Got it. Why is it? I got it. Why is it? No. I want to understand. I want to understand what you're saying. Why is it a symbol of Palestine? Because the Palestinians themselves are not wearing it.
Each group of people can take the sign that they want. What I understand. But so let me tell you, if I let my beer like Osama bin Laden, doesn't mean that I'm pro Osama bin Laden.
No, but beer is not. No, sweetie. There are people with beers all over the world, and you specifically said this is a Palestinian kafia, and you said it's a tradition. And I'm asking you, when did this tradition started, and why, when I look on the streets of Palestine, for example, Gaza, I don't see the Palestinians wearing it. I do see people in the West, mostly in demonstrations, holding signs of from the river to the sea. They are holding it.
Masri, let's concretize this. If you see a person wearing a swastika, what do you think?
What is swastika? I don't know.
A swastika is the Nazi symbol.
The Nazi symbol.
What do you think of that person?
I don't know. Again, please. What is that?
The swastika is the Nazi symbol, Masri. Is the cross, the Nazi cross. The swastika is the Nazi cross. Do you know?
No, I don't know it, to be honest.
Come on, dude, put Nazi symbol on Google. How can you not know what
It's like an L. It's like an L that you put it like 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees.
I'm sorry. In order to give you the right answer, Simon, would you please write the word in the chatting room so I can check the spelling?
You know the Nazi symbol? You don't know the Nazi symbol?
Yeah, there you go. There is a spelling.
It's apparently not very well taught in Egyptian schools.
And actually, it's also an old Egyptian symbol.
Also Buddhistic symbol.
Yeah.
No, the Buddhist is opposite. It's like the arm goes the other way, and the Nazi is a bit 45 degrees.
In Italian, we would say "la guaranda jingue." If only you got that show. Anyways, yeah. So.
Oh, you mean the Nazi symbol?
But that's what we think.
Okay, sorry. I mean the Nazi symbol. So, if you see someone wearing a Nazi symbol, what do you think of that person?
Yeah. I guess in that point specifically, you are right. But again, according to the kafia, if you implement this, I'm trying to be honest. I'm honest. That doesn't mean that I agree that this kafia, when I wear it or I put it, it means that I'm pro-terrorist.
I get it, but it is a symbol that right now is being used by all supporters of Palestine and supporters of Hamas. You hold on, Masri, let me finish.
Of Palestine cause, not Palestine.
This kafia is currently being used by supporters of Hamas, of the Palestinian cause, and is being taken as a symbol against Israel. So it has become that. We're not saying that it was born like that, just like the swastika had origins in other cultures, and it did not mean that they hate the Jews. But the Nazis appropriated it, and then they used it for the Holocaust. And now it's happening, unfortunately, it's happening the same thing to the kafia. The terrorist supporters are appropriating this thing as a symbol against Israel. So when you're conscious of this and you choose to use this symbol to wrap around a baby or to go out on protests or whatever, you're making a statement. It's also a form of communication.
I'm sorry, you're mixing it around because Hamas are Palestinian citizens. And Palestine, this is their symbol, or one of their symbols. And wearing it doesn't mean that I belong to a terrorist group or something. As I raise it up because I stand for Palestine. And it doesn't mean that I
understand. You can raise the flag of Palestine.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate it. It definitely took him a couple hours. I was like, what is this guy wearing?
Dude, you gotta buy the items, Espresso. They're not that expensive.
No, I'm not. The problem's not with the money. It's just like, I'm not gonna wear this shit sometimes.
Wear it not all the time. But you know, when you go to a party, when you go to a bar, when you go to a get-together, don't wear it.
All right, of course.
Namaste.
Namaste, Jean. How are you?
Well, I'm okay. I have a question for the mega guys. Maybe Morale is there, I don't know. It's Morale. He's busy.
What's up, Gene?
So, because Nachiketa, you're not a mega guy.
I'm a mild MAGA guy. Morel is a real MAGA guy.
Well, okay. Now, so I don't know, maybe it's a little bit stupid, but so if Zelensky offers Trump like Ukraine's natural resources in exchange of continuing support, so if Zelensky says, I'll give you our natural resources and you will give us weapon and we will keep fighting. So you think Trump will agree? Or do you think it's the right thing to do for Trump?
Yeah, I have no insight on this, Gene. You're so much more knowledgeable on the costs of what's going on. But for the Trump-loving base, we just want everything to get shut off immediately on the payments. Immediate ceasefire and deal to be made. Probably to give up all of that land, like Zelensky has said he will do. And then, so yeah, they need to negotiate a settlement. It'll look like Donbass and Crimea will be kept by them, by Russia. And then some 20-year period of assistance from other countries without calling it NATO.
But if Zelensky bribe Trump by giving Ukraine's natural resources,
no bribe. There's no bribe. All the people who were bribed already are the other side guys.
No, I mean like official bribe. Like it's not real, but I mean like you will get
BlackRock already bought all of that. Private equity already bought all of that. That's what Pelosi's son and Romney's son and Biden's son. Why do you think they've been there for 10 years? It's a big scandal now.
Yeah, but I mean, if there is like real legal official contract, so American companies will get a lot of, I don't know, natural resources, so they will make a lot of money, and in exchange, America will keep giving a lot of weapons, and the war will continue forever. You think it's possible?
No way. Zero chance. These people were elected to stop the Ukraine war.
Well, I hope so, but I was afraid.
No, the pledge is the war will end before the inauguration. That's what he pledged. He's been on the phone with everybody already multiple times, right?
Yeah, so that was just my fear that like even MAGA guy will support this.
Hell no. No one wants a dollar or cent anymore. We don't even care about either side.
No, but the point is exactly, but if you start making money, so this is the problem. So you will not be losing money, you will be making money by getting like cheap Ukrainian resources almost for free. So, what, do you understand?
You are worrying that MAGA in fact doesn't care about the war. Will continue to fund Ukraine, doing a deal for some natural resource deal, and prolong the war inevitably. Is that the statement you're making?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think there's zero chance. There's zero chance of this. Now, them escalating it prior to Jan 20th. This is the problem. You're sitting in the soup now. If anything's going to happen, it's going to happen right now in the next 2 months. As you're seeing every week is a story of the ATACMS missiles or the landmines, right? But this is pre-negotiation. It could just be smart pre-negotiation. They're setting Zelensky up with some weapons before the full negotiation. It clearly appears that way to me. It's not an escalation. This is a posturing prior to going to the deal.
Well, I think, yes, I think that the West, I don't know if you know much about British newspaper. So my theory that Republicans, they prepare the public for the ceasefire, and how they do it. Because there have been news articles in The Economist and The Telegraph. The first article was that Ukrainian losses are very high. So, and the second article was that a lot of men are afraid to go to war and they need to force like really brutally. So maybe it's my conspiracy theory, but maybe just, I don't know.
They can up for a deal. That's correct. Even Zelensky himself came out to say now he will trade land. That happened yesterday. So he's now bending down and saying he's ready to do a deal. Yeah, you got very clear setting up for the deal.
Well, but he's been really like, he a little bit turned down his position, but still he wants to wiggle out of the deal. Like now he says, okay, if you accept us in NATO without some territories.
It's a non-starter. No one's going to allow him to be in NATO. But he's calling it a 20-year agreement, not NATO, but like a support agreement. Kind of a multinational support of Ukraine. Give away and I'm willing to give away the territories the first time he said it. Of course.
Well, he says a little bit notice. He says we can accept the idea that we will be part of NATO, but partially, without all territories. So that's what he said. But still, he wants, he still wants NATO. So, so I don't know. And also, he said,
that'll be Putin's first thing. You'll never join NATO. That'll be one of his first and only conditions.
And also,
it'll keep happening forever. Why the fuck would he want? You're signing a check for a world war to put the Ukraine into NATO. It's crazy.
Yeah. So my guess is he still wants to wiggle out of the deal. So he still So he says we want
you'll be forced to do a deal.
Really?
Yeah. He's going to get forced to do a deal. Trump called him on the first day after he was elected and then put Elon on the call as a three-way. And they sat there and fucking punked him out. No one knows what was said, but I imagine there's a strong recommendation to get this deal done.
But he keeps saying something.
He even reported he talked tough to the media. No deal like that after that call. So he's softened tremendous. Look in 2 weeks how Zelensky softened. Remember, Trump promised a deal would be made before he enters office. He's going to get that settled not on day one, before day one. He said it many times, and I look at the momentum right now. He's going to have a deal. We're either going to have a deal or some sort of goddamn problem before the inauguration.
But he still keeps saying something, which I think.
Who wants to go into winter fighting fully? You can just make a deal now. Eventually, you're going to make a deal. There's no reason to just much more bloodshed.
But what he said also that, let me quote you. So Zelensky said, Putin can attack Ukraine again in 3 or 5 years if we freeze the conflict without strong Ukraine. So to avoid the second invasion, we need to enforce, make Ukraine stronger, and Ukraine should get missiles and invitation to NATO. So that's what he still wants.
It's a reasonable list up until NATO. So he's not going to get NATO, but he'll get all of that other assurance. There'll be a treaty line right there. And if Putin comes in war, there'll be a problem.
Yeah, but in my opinion, if you use logic, so okay, he says Russia can attack again in 3 years. That's why we don't want ceasefire. But in my opinion, okay, it's still better, even if Russia attacks in 3 years, it's still better to live 3 years without a war than have 3 years of war, right? So from logic, right? So doesn't make, do you understand?
Yeah, but I mean, Russia's not going to attack again once they get all of that territory. If they go for more, they will have a World War threat on them.
So you think Ukraine will get a real guarantees, maybe not NATO, but something?
A treaty. They'll have a treaty. Yeah, they'll have a treaty, multilateral treaty, of course, between Ukraine and Russia, and it's overshadowed by UN/US. Yeah, that's what that would look like Majinsky or any of these other treaties. They'll go for as long as they go.
But what if Putin disagrees? What Trump's gonna do?
They're in agreement, man. He likes them. They've already spoken.
Really? You think they will agree?
They're more likely to agree than anyone else.
But what if it happens, and what the Democrats will say? Will they say we were so wrong? We almost
they never
killed.
They were wrong. Change the subject.
But if it happens, it will be detrimental for Democrats, or will they pretend that nothing happened and they will just move on, like with COVID?
They'll celebrate the deal.
Yeah, I wonder if... Yeah, well, I don't know. I still, it's still difficult to believe that it's possible, because it would be like a miracle, if you are sure you're almost dead, and all of a sudden you are...
They said this about North Korea would be a miracle when Trump came in the first time. We were supposed to go to war with North Korea. We're supposed to go to war with Syria and Iran. This is not... Yeah, he already proved that he can make some great deals.
Well, but North Korea, it was not at war, actually, right? So,
yeah, they were ready to war. They were ready to war with the U.S. They were dispatched, and they said the red line has been crossed, all sort of garbage. Obama said there's definitely going to be a war with North Korea.
But what about Israel? They wanted to have a deal, it was a good idea, but they couldn't, there was something.
They try to do something to Trump.
What?
Why did Israel try to do something to President Trump?
And coming and seeing all of you young men singing, you have a choice as a man in my eyes. You have like women, your duty is passed down as a woman, but as a man, and you choose to
tried to do some things to him.
Sing and be Jewish. It's
such
a choice. You can always marry out.
Have you heard of Alexander Vindman?
But seeing you all standing here, where the second largest Holocaust happened to Jews in history.
No.
It's so powerful, and it's like I'm shaking because it's getting me so much.
No, but
there's been a lot of connections to some. Israel would have to. Israel's going to have to also be in the same spot as Zelensky.
Coming here, we just came back.
Weirdly, they all seem to be watching the same NPR coverage. They all have the same opinions, pro-Ukraine and pro-Israel side.
But Israel likes Trump more than Democrats.
Yeah, well, maybe they act like that. They can't do that.
Really?
And AIPAC, American Israelis would be favoring that that was the case. Only the Orthodox Jews support Trump.
Well, I know a guy from Israel. Well, he was born in Soviet Union, but moved into Israel. He's a Jew. And when the war with Gaza started, when Gaza attacked Israel, he became radical, so he became very anti-democrat and very pro-Trump. So I don't talk to him anymore, but so they were very much in favor of Trump. And a lot of these people from ex-Soviet republics, they are very anti-communist, so they support Trump.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think Jews love Christians?
Jews love Christians? Jews?
Yes, and Israelis. You can answer.
It's a good question.
One for you. You can answer for each. Israelis and then Jews.
Well, I think Jews would prefer Christians over Muslims, I think. So maybe, I don't know, like...
But do they think Christians do they prefer atheists or Christians?
Probably Christians. No, but you need to understand that, like, Jews are really split. So, I don't know.
Split 80-20. Split like black people are split. So it's not split. It's the least split.
But if you talk about...
Or Democrats.
Yeah, but you talk about American Jews, not Israel Jews. Right?
How are the Israel Jews are pro-evangelical to come and do a bus tour.
I do branded dropshipping.
See the birthplace of Jesus.
Dropshipping. Last year, our brand
do they actually love the Christians?
With about 20% profit.
Feels like it's.
How many years experience do you have? 6 years now. And what is exactly that you do?
Existence at this time.
Unlike most people, we do branded dropshipping. So
the MAGA party is a party of Christianity. So I think there is like some fundamental
So we go to AliExpress, find a product for $10. We'll list it for $40 on our own
I can't understand why Jews would vote 80-20 for the Democrats who are against them.
You finished with therapy, we'll get us out on your case. They offer $21,000. They offer $31,000. We file a lawsuit. They say,
You can also see the influencers.
What do you know? They offer $82,000.
Case settled, let's go. There's really not many American Jews speaking up for President Trump being good.
Well, I can tell you the Jews that are from ex-Soviet republics, like Russian-speaking Jews, who, it doesn't matter, they are in Israel and America, they mostly pro-Trump. Especially, I don't know, at least here on Clubhouse, I don't know.
I don't blame them. I mean, he put the embassy, he did some deals that were good. He's spoken out that we should help Israel defend itself. So he's been nothing but a friend. And the other side's been nothing but garbage. So why did they vote like black people for one side?
So you think this? Well, but if you look up the poll in Israel, I think most people in Israel support
Damn, they kicked me. They kicked me. They kicked me.
With some influence. Some mushrooms or something. Did you eat Cubansis, Michael, last night?
I haven't had an alcoholic beverage in, I think, a month